Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer. Welcome back to Pro Cycling Manager 2019, Career Mode, episode number 67. We're in the final stages of La Vuelta. La Vuelta, España, stage 19 of 21, and it is a time trial, 38 kilometers. Now, meanwhile, we've had the Tour of Britain going on. Stage 6 has already taken place. Jasper Philipsen, who had a 3-second lead, got another stage victory on that sprint stage and has opened up a 13-second lead with 2 stages left to go. There is a little bit of climbing in Tour of Britain, I believe for stage 7 anyway. But meanwhile, in La Vuelta, we still have 7th place for Evenepoel, and this is a chance for him to improve his position. Not standing, but the timing. McNulty, also capable of putting up a pretty decent time, could improve his position a little bit. He's all the way up in 13th, so he's hanging on to a pretty strong overall position, and that's worth some points for us as well. So it's not just Evenepoel looking to claim some points. And wow, look at that. After Dumoulin, there is a huge drop-off to Evenepoel. We all know that in real life, he is proving to be an excellent time trialist, probably beyond where he is even in the game, but only slightly. I'd say he's probably a 79, maybe an 80 as a time trialist in real life. He has developed so well in that category. Lampard, Bevan, Schachmann, none of these guys have a strong position overall outside of Dumoulin, who is just 6 seconds off the race lead. Of course, until last stage, he had the race lead. He'll probably reclaim that today. You would think above Lopez. He should have a pretty comfortable gap on that heading into the final climbing stage, stage 20. We've got a little bit of time till Garrison goes, and he's going to be my test subject along with Narvaez to try to get things lined up just right for McNulty and Evenepoel later on. We'll see how they're doing on race day conditions. That will be pretty important. But I'm going to go ahead and work with those guys off camera. A lot of the best time trialists are already done with the time trial and right in the mix of things. Garrison still hanging on to 15th. He was one of the first riders out there, now just dropping a spot to 17th. Mather, Felci, both in the top 10 right now, 7th, 9th place, just over a minute behind. It's Paddy Bevan who has the best time at the moment at 55:24, and that's a time that could just about hold up till Dumoulin comes along. Lampard, 2nd, 8 seconds behind, so that's pretty much the benchmark. Then you start to get a little drop off. Matthews, 18. Contreras just crossed the line, 28 seconds down. Oliveira, 38. Hepburn, Dowsett within a minute. James Mather, the first one, a minute behind. So we're 8th and 10th with those guys. And as Mather is going, McNulty, his race day condition looking excellent. So I've figured out that a 73 can get you to the end for a weaker time trialist. The better time trialist can push about a 74, but it's been pretty touch and go. I've had almost every rider running out of energy 200-400 meters out. Garrison, the worst time with that at about 1.2K. Narvaez was about 900 meters when he ran out of energy. So at this point, I have not managed to get any of them to still have a little bit of energy. Oh, Evenepoel, yes, an 80. We're definitely going to push 74 for him as he gets ready to set off here. So Mather through the second checkpoint, he's 46, 233 down. He's only a 67 in the time trial, so he's not putting up a great time here today. But outside of him, we're looking pretty good. And he's down to 27th anyway, so Gino Mather is out of contention really for points for this race. So I'm not too worried about him any longer. You can see with that 73, he's still got a good little bit of energy. It's the 74s that are a little trickier, and McNulty approaching the first checkpoint Should have a pretty decent time here. 15th, 27 seconds behind. Vettel still quite a ways till he gets to that first checkpoint. McNulty, he'll start to recover that energy that he's lost with this descent. It's really kind of the only descent, the only real tuck period where you can recover a bit as he goes under 20k to go. But Gino Mater approaching the end. He's gone through the last climb, though this little uphill right here, 2 degrees, and then he's going to get to the finish, and the first one really who still had energy at the end and was able to push. So he takes 38th, 242 behind. No surprise about the distance, just because of he's not much of a time trialist at all. Mather and Felci both outside of the top 10 now. Garrison outside of the top 25 now, so no surprise those guys are not great time trialists, but what can McNulty and Evenepoel do? That's the one we're really keeping an eye on. And McNulty right now through the second checkpoint, 15th place. Okay, we're going to have to back up to 73, I think, for a little bit. That's the only way to quite make 74 work on the energy. And Evenepoel's actually at that spot where it's good to back off a little there, too. We want to be able to attack at the end. McNulty coming up on that last climb, but meanwhile, Evenepoel just about to hit the second checkpoint. He was 13th, 36 seconds behind. He's going to need something better than that. 12th, but only 27 seconds behind. So he only moves up one spot, but the time is much improved. McNulty pushing towards the end. And 1k to go. He's about to run out of energy. He just makes it work about 10 meters. He takes 8th place. 8th place, 25 seconds. That's a good time for McNulty. And now Evenepoel, we can go back up to a 74. He's got some energy to spare to attack the end. We should definitely see him move into a top 10 position. Can we see him move into a top 5? Down to 13th now, 51 seconds behind. That's got to be Dumoulin. Dumoulin has gone quickest through the second checkpoint. 1k to go, and we're going to attack full 99s. Second place, 2 seconds behind Paddy Bevan. That's a good time. That is a good time. Mikel Landa over 2 minutes back, but we're 4 minutes behind him. But now just 2. Bernal loses a minute. Here comes Simon Yates, 4th overall, and 112 on. That's a good time. Carapaz, just over a minute here. 3rd place rider. He gets within a minute. There's Dumoulin. He's quickest. And finally, it's Lopez, final guy coming in, minute and a half behind. Dumoulin definitely going up top of the leaderboard. Evenepoel's going to finish 3rd on the stage. That's a good time. That's a good time for Evenepoel. Nairo Quintana is nowhere to be seen here, so he definitely is going to lose a big chunk of time to us, which should help us maintain that 7th place overall. Dumoulin lead, Lopez 2nd, Carapaz, Yates, Bernal, Landa, Evenepoel still 7th. I knew the gap was just too big. He's 2 minutes behind Landa, but he's now 2.5 minutes just about to back to Quintana. That's not a lead that can't be passed on that last stage, and the quality that Quintana has is tough. He's the only rider that I'm going to need to focus on trying to stay with on that final climb. We'll try to keep his wheel. If he attacks, we go with him, but if anybody else attacks, we don't worry about it. And we really have nothing to gain, so there's no reason for us to be the one to attack. Especially when we are a notch below the other climbers around us. Dumoulin into the lead on the points classification now after winning this stage. And we get back within 5 minutes of Bernal on the young rider classification. And we now have an 11-minute gap over Enric Mas. McNulty up to 4th. He's ahead of Sosa. He's up to 11th. Oh, sorry, that was the stage. McNulty took 11th on the stage. the last rider within a minute of Dumoulin's time. So both of them doing an excellent job. And here we are. So Evenepoel, again, hanging on to 7th. 2 minutes behind Landa. He's not going to catch him. That gap is now smaller, but the one stage left that's going to affect the time is a huge climbing stage. Landa's an 81. We're a 78. We're not going to beat Landa. What we need to watch out for is Quintana, who's an 80 and a much higher resistance. He's going to be difficult to keep pace with. So the movie star rider is the one we really need to keep an eye out for, because 4.5 minutes to Adam Yates doesn't worry me. I don't think we're going to lose that kind of time. We could lose 2 to 3 minutes, maybe 4, on the climb. So even Adam Yates actually could be a bit of a threat to us. Uran, too far behind now. He's almost 7 minutes down, almost. McNulty keeps 13th, but he's now multiple minutes ahead of Tim Wellens, who's been in a lot of breakaways, so that could be dangerous. He could slip back down. Sosa's been in a lot of breaks. I'm not sending McNulty in the break on this last stage. I need help for Evenepoel, as there's still some danger that we could lose 1, maybe 2 positions if things don't go well on the climb. I do love how strong we are in the under 25s competition, though. Just goes to show how we are compared to the other teams. We are so young compared to them. Definitely operating on a smaller budget, and yet we keep battling. We keep fighting, and it looks like we are headed to... Oh, hello. Hello. Looky here. Let's drop back here for a second, and let's see what just happened. We're going to first look at the rankings. We just inched ahead of EF Education first. We're still at 76 points, but we're now 14th. The only way that that's happened, because we've had no new signings, the only way that's happened is if somebody leveled up. I don't see anything, though there are 472s. I think there might have only been 3 previously. Is it Ooms? Was Ooms a 71 before? Difficult to say. I want to say that Ooms leveled up, and if he did, well, no, it's his cobble rating that would be helping us, because he's the 1 in that category. I don't think it was Ooms. I know Narvaez was the 72 already. Maybe it's Stan Gaudry. I don't think Gaudry was a 72. So maybe he's giving us a boost in our sprint rating? I think it was Gaudry. I think Gaudry was a 70 or 71. Even though he's 27, he still has potential. Is he our oldest rider? He is. Gaudry's the oldest rider on the team at 27. Do like to keep him young so that they can keep developing and not go the wrong direction. Alright, well, I think Stan Gaudry just gave us a tiny boost to our sprint rating, and it didn't change our star rating. It didn't even add a point, but it could have added, a 1/10 of a point or 0.5 of a point, but either way, it was enough to boost us the 1 spot over EF Education first. We were both 3.5-star programs. We're still 3.5-star programs, and yes, there is a little bit of climbing on stage 7 of the Tour of Britain. It's still seen as a sprint stage, so can Philipsen get through that climb and replicate what he's done, which is win every single sprint stage so far in this race and not do bad in the time trial. He does! And he is just killing it. But you look around, I mean, Pidcock is about the best. Well, Barbier and Pidcock are really the only sprinters around, and neither one of them are that great. Simile isn't he a little bit? Yeah, he's a decent sprinter. But the field is really lacking any sprinters. No wonder he's winning. 26 seconds clear with one stage to go, which should be the London sprint stage. So Philipsen looks like he might be taking the victory for the Tour of Britain, and doing so all on simulated stages. I like that. Earning points even when it's not me putting the work in, because that doesn't happen very often. They almost always underperform. But not on this occasion. Alright, well, here it is. One of the Queen stages of the race. 186 kilometers with a massive final climb. The Alto Aitana, 5.9%, so 6% gradient, 12.5 max gradient, and it gets steeper at the top. 21 kilometers in length. Yikes. And to make it that much more difficult, we've got 4 categorized climbs along the way, and it's certainly not a short stage. It's only just hitting into your stamina being a factor, but the resistance on this final one, Venipol, 74, it's not bad, but it's definitely not that of the climbers we're going head to head with, and nobody in the team has what's necessary to really stick around for too long. And Venipol's so close, couple days away. What's he at? 96 points. But of course, the objective that we set, we didn't know we were going to be in La Vuelta, was the World Championships, which is in 11 days. So he's timed this just right for that. He's going to get, 3 points today on stage 20 and be at 99. And then stage 21, he'll get 3 points and start his fitness peak the day after La Vuelta. But hey, that is okay. We didn't come into this with high expectations, and 7th is pretty damn good. So we're going to catch most all of stage 20 here, as this is, like I said, one of the Queen stages of the race, and will be the very decisive one that determines the final GC positions. Currently, there are 35 riders off the front, 117 in the peloton, and this is very, very different. And they have an 8-minute gap. They have an 8-minute gap already. This is so different than the race that I already started to run. Not yet to the halfway point, about to where the mouse pointer is now on the minimap. Stage was a little over a third, maybe 40% of the way done, and game froze, so I cut that section out and we try again. But last time, people were very unhappy with the break and pulled back, fought, battled. A lot of people were dropped from the peloton on the very first climb of the day. And then just 3 riders ended up away, and only with about a 4.5-minute gap. And yeah, we have more trying to attack now, going for the stage. None of my guys are strong enough to win the stage outside of, say, a Venipol. He's the only one really capable, but we decided to go for GC, and I'm happy I did. I really am. Not looking for stages this time, but looking for a GC position and focusing on that has worked out well as we sit in 7th place here on the final stage. It's worth a lot of points, and it feels good to get, somebody that high up the order that doesn't really compare to those other riders around the top 15. They're all better, stronger climbers, and yet we've managed to work hard as a team and have a good position. Galopin out of the race. So it's 34 riders away, and the gap now over 11 minutes. It looks like they will be claiming the stage today. And like I said, so very different than the initial time that I ran through this. This has gone the complete opposite way. Peloton just chilling, relaxing so far. And meanwhile, guys like Max Schachmann are going off and gaining huge chunks of time, and it's gonna be pretty hard to pull back too much of that massive climb. Though the time's gonna come down pretty quick, but there are some good climbers, and they could end up winning by 6, 7, 8 minutes, and this actually could cost us a position, especially like say McNulty in 13th. A lot of those riders are much closer to him than they are to Evenepoel. So I think Evenepoel's 7th place probably is safe, but 13th for McNulty, there's quite a few riders in the break that are just 1, 2, 3, 4 positions behind McNulty, like Schachmann. Group splits over that climb, but it looks like they're getting back together. Outside of a few riders. Be nice if those riders were lost, but there's just not enough pace. Not enough pace, and now it's 15:40 behind, so the gap getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So we're having an easy start to the race, and I suppose that's good for Evenepoel, that we're saving ourselves, that the field is saving us, because I've got my entire team fresh right now. Allows them to hang on a little bit longer, help Evenepoel a little bit longer up that final climb, which is going to make the gap smaller, make the riders closer together at the end. But it also means they could end up pushing just a crazy hard pace and really blowing up the field quick instead of a more gradual approach to the climb if it was a smaller peloton to begin with. Right now, just one categorized climb left to go until we hit that final monster. And it's 83k to the distance left to go, sorry. And I think I want to get water now while the pace is easy. We're back down inside 12 minutes at least, so we are catching the break. And the pace is starting to pick up, and you can already see damage is starting to get done. So not bad on the timing to get the water before it hurts too much. But 72k to go, that's not going to be enough water to get to the end, especially with that final climb. So we will have to try on this descent to send somebody to get water. If the pace isn't crazy, we should still have the full team, but definitely see we've really picked up the pace. 85 is now not sufficient, so we're going to have to start pushing it up a little bit more. Next up, we come on the onto that climb. Category 2 climb, 13k, 4% average gradient. It's not that severe, but 13k, it's a long time to be climbing, and especially with the pace that we're now running. Breakaway, starting to see some separation. 6 riders have been dropped. Peloton also starting to see some separation, down to 109. Let's bring it down for this climb because I think the pace is going to do some damage and we're going to have a lot to answer to. We can slip back a little bit, but we can't slip back too much. The 88 is definitely causing a blinky red. Evenepoel, McNulty kind of right on the edge of that. Felchi blinking red a little more often. Mader definitely slipping back a little bit, but not bad. Not bad, so we're okay. Okay, Mather, Ujugel, and Narvaez. See if they can hang on. As he slips down a little bit more, then we might use his gel on this climb. Just near as the pace got out, or is it because I slowed things down? 11 minutes is the gap to the front. Peloton at 100 riders. Shockman interested in the KOM. Yeah, we're kind of recovering a little bit. Of course, we had a little downhill section. Flattened out a bit there for a little bit. 5K to go to the top. 84 left in the peloton, so it's still shrinking. Oh, maybe not. Evenepoel is protecting... Mather is protecting Evenepoel, so Felci will replace Mather pretty soon. For now, he hangs on. Serious shoulder bobbing going on for him, though. Mather will make it. Does not get dropped. 81 left in the peloton, and we've got our full team. And only one had to use their gel. And we should get a pretty decent amount of recovery down this descent. Wait. Felci. Should have done this before the top of just before the top of the climb. 79 riders. It's not huge though, and it seems pretty compact. It's a wide road. Field's fairly bunched up. In real life, a descent like this, they'd be going down 1 by 1 or 2 by 3 maybe. 3 wide at most. Probably more like 2 wide and stretched out even on a wide road like this because of the pace. Felci still hasn't gotten water. Come on.
Amador has fallen.
Andre Amador goes down. There he is. Luckily we avoided it. Felci gets water, but now he's caught in terrible timing to try to attack. I have to wait till he gets over the top. Still has the yellow bar, so he'll get there, but it's kind of hurting the timing on finishing this project. Okay, nearly there now.
There's a collective ball with several riders on the ground. We can only hope that they all
Valverde out the back.
Some team managers mustn't appreciate the fact that there is a breakaway, given that the pack has increased.
We got water to McNulty and nobody else so far. Come on, Felci.
A rider is down.
Let's help him out here. Get him to some space. Because he's got to toss bottles across the road. And they'll catch them. We practice that a lot. No other team does it, but we do. And it worked. So Felci went to the space. Toss the bottles across because everybody has water now. Gap 13-20. Not catching the front of the group at all. 68 left in the peloton. Full team is here. We need to make sure we're going to go hard enough to keep position and not slip back too far otherwise as this thins out. Or if this road gets tight, we're going to have some real problems. Amador out after his crash. 6%, 21.5 kilometers, 1,500 meters of climbing. It's not the worst climb in terms of steepness. It's not like a 20% or anything, and there's only one section that's pretty bad. But you can see the end of the climb is pretty harsh. And there's going to be so much fatigue before we ever hit that point. We could be down to just Evenepoel by the time we even begin the toughest part of the climb. So I am pretty nervous about this one, and we're going to have to definitely... And yeah, there you go, blinking red at a 90 on a 4% gradient. And we really can't afford to slip back too far. Mather is fading quick. Narvaez, we're going to keep an eye on him, and Garrison. Let's go ahead and use your gel. Your red bar is almost gone, Garrison, so let's help you hang in there a little while longer. Narvaez is starting to fade. Let's go ahead and use his gel. And Mather's going to slip back soon, so Felchi is going to take over protection. And Mather, set you to auto. And look how small this group is. Mather is at the back of the peloton right now. 63 riders. Still a wide road at this point. He's about to get dropped. All of these guys are about to get dropped. 18 riders out. Scoins among them. He was up the standings a little bit. He's in the top 20, I think. Richie Port is here. And okay. Dang, Prades. Matias Frank, Garcia Cortina, Pino heading out the back. Chavez. Oh, Garrison. Okay, I need to go take care of my team. Garrison is out. We're down to 39 riders. It is no longer time to watch and enjoy and go through the field. Felchi is getting dropped already, and just like that, Mader, Evenepoel, and McNulty are all that's left. Other than Felchi, we've timed things right on the gels, but we've got 12K to go still. We're not even halfway up this climb, and we're not into the serious portion of it at all yet. McNulty is going to need to use his gel already. And Evenepoel, look how tired these guys are. Pace has lifted a bit. Gap hasn't come down much at all. 12 minutes and 40 seconds. Those winners are going to gain a ton of time. I mean, McNulty's 25 minutes behind, and some of them are close to him, and that's 15 minutes behind Evenepoel. So, okay, that's not as bad as it could be. A little too early on this for McNulty on the gel, because Mader hasn't faded yet. I want you to follow. Acceleration from Uran. Nibali, Carapaz. Uran off the front. Landa, Lopez. Mark Hershey going. Dunbar. Here's a big attack. Remember, there's one rider we're really watching out for as Gino Mader is fading. Gino Mader is done. So McNulty will take over protection duties. And Gino Mader will go down to auto. 30 left in the group. We'll ride with him for a moment. 24 left, 20 left. Rojas is out. Pedrero is about to get dropped. Sagan's about to get dropped. Kruiswijk struggling. See, that's a 79 climber. He's a slightly better climber than Evenepoel. What's going on here? Uh-oh. Landa, Yates, Uran, Carapaz, Bernal, Yates, Lopez. That's breakaway riders. And things are about to level off a little bit, which means the serious part of the climb, yeah, we're just about to hit it. Evenepoel really doesn't have the strength to attack. Moulin is still here, so we have to hope Quintana is still here. We have to hope that those guys do not open some massive gap ahead of us, those 10 riders, as there's 19, 16 here. Group's thinning quick. We just need to hold position. Okay, we caught some of them. Uran still attacking. He is one to watch out for. Remember, he's 4 minutes behind. Carapaz, okay, Bernal, Landa, Yates, Lopez, and Yates is another one to worry about. He's, 4 minutes behind us? And both Evenepoel and McNulty are struggling mightily. We're in a group of 15, but again, those 5 to 7 riders have gone away. And Evenepoel just hanging on. This is not good. This is not good. Gel's kicking in. He's off a little bit. We are in the Moulin group. Nibali and Quintana and Moss.
And the final sprint is off. Who's going to be the first of the line today?
And here we go to the end of the stage. 3.8k to go. McNulty's going to fade here. Venipol is hanging on in the short term. Sivakov takes the stage, outpulls Zakharin. And we're down to 6 riders. 5 riders. And Venipol has no energy with 3k to go. And we're getting dropped. Can I get you back to Venipol?
Quintana goes onto the attack.
Well, we caught Max Schachmann. So we're with Nibali. That means Quintana has gone away, hasn't he? Where's Quintana?
And he spurts away from the group. He's going for victory.
Of course, Schachmann, Dunbar. There's Sosa. He's in front of us. He is in front of us. We are losing time. McNulty. We're riding with Nibali. We're catching breakaway riders. There's Dumoulin. Is that Quintana just now reaching the line? He's already reached the line. He has already reached the line. Sprint. Get whatever you got. Get there. Oh, this is going to be big time losses. I was worried about this one. I knew that this was going to be really tough. I mean, McNulty, look at what he's got today. 79 and 82. And he was just behind McNulty. Just behind Evenepoel, 23rd and 24th. And 23rd is not that bad because so many of the riders were breakaway riders. But Sivakov, Zakharin, Bilbao, Wellens I think was in 14th. Latour definitely was top 20. So there's going to be some time losses. Where our riders start coming in, Carapaz, Uran, Bernal, Landa, Quintana was 5th among the contenders. He's going to gain a bunch of time over us. Lopez, Adam and Simon Yates. I think Damula just lost the race. Potentially. I think the gap might be big enough for that. If I'm 23rd, he was maybe 21st, I think. So Dumoulin was probably 21st on the stage. Among contenders, we're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 ahead of us. So I think we took about 11th place. And there was some relatively big time gaps. We definitely lost time. I'm nervous that we might have slipped to 8th, maybe even 9th here on this stage. We'll find out here in a little bit. Even McNulty, I think, might have lost a position or two, and more so not because of contenders, as he finished relatively well. He's right behind Evenepoel. But more so because of the breakaway with the massive lead, which, yes, came down a lot, but those guys around him gained 3, 4, 5, 6 minutes on him. Still getting to the end. Anybody? Of course, I flip it around right after the last rider. He goes on through. Okay. Here we go. This really is your final standings because stage 21 is just going to be a sprint stage. Sivakov, Pol, Zakharin come across the line together with the 2 Ineos riders going 1-2. Bilbao, Jay Hindley, Tim Vellens, 5:40 down with Latour and Caruso, and then 9:43 to Bernard. Carapaz, 9:50. For the first of the GC contenders, 10 minutes down. I don't think I was that far behind as far as I thought, because I think I was only about 11. If that's the case, we're okay. Way closer than I thought. Carapaz, Uran, Bernal, Landa. We'll see if that's the case, though. We haven't gotten there yet. Quintana, 10:02. Oh, there's the benchmark. We got to compare. We had a couple minutes to spare, about 2.5. Lopez, Yates brothers coming in together. 10:30. 12 minutes for Evenepoel flat. 12 flat. 2-minute loss. I think we hung on. I think we hung on to our position. Ooh, excuse me. Maybe, just maybe. Let's find out in a moment. 2 withdrawals, Amador, Galopan. Down to 150 riders to ride into Madrid. Dumoulin back into... Wait. Dumoulin had that big of a lead? Dumoulin? Oh, well, okay, if the gap wasn't that big for us, it wasn't that big to him. 10:53. So, a minute. All he lost was a minute. So while it was good for me, it also ended up working out for Dumoulin. He's going to hang on to win the race. I thought he lost it. I really did. I thought he was too far down. Lopez, still a minute behind. Carapaz is third. Simon Yates is fourth. Bernal has long since been in fifth place. And that's where the end of the close battle is. 4 minutes behind. Landa is 7:10 in no man's land in sixth. We are no longer in no man's land. We were. But we do keep 7th by 20 seconds ahead of Nairo Quintana. So we beat out Quintana. Hell yeah. Adam Yates as well. But Simon was in 4th. And so Adam was in a support role this race. 13:57 for him. Uran 15:49. Keeping the top 10 just about the same. Did Lopez... No, Carapaz and Lopez both came in together, didn't they? No, Lopez lost 24 seconds, but not enough. Carapaz stays third. So no change in the top 10 at all. Okay, but here's exactly what I was talking about. All these guys from the breakaway gain a ton of time. Wout Poels jumps to 11th place. Breakaway rider. Gained 10 minutes. Velens gains a bunch of time. Nibali just raced his way to the top. Zakarin was in the break. Sivakov in the break. Dropping McNulty to 17th. Just seconds behind these guys. But they all gained 10 minutes. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 breakaway riders. Or was Moss... I don't remember. Was Moss... No, Moss was still in the peloton. Moss was in the peloton. But outside of Moss and Nibali, the others... So these 1, 2, 3, 4 riders from the break jump McNulty, who drops from 13th to 17th. 4 breakaway riders ahead of him. So he wasn't the only one who lost a position or two out of those 4. But those 4, the 10 minutes that they gained, drop us to 17th. That's lame. That's lame. He worked really hard. We keep second place in the under 25s, which means nothing other than, hooray! We're not as good as Egan Bernal. Duh. But otherwise, we did really good. 5th place as a team, just over an hour behind. Team Ineos, of course, the strongest. Mitchelton Scott, second best. The Yates brothers really contributing well to make that happen. Movie star. Bahrain Merida in 4th. Wow, that's a good position for them. And we beat out the likes of Duquesne Quickstep, EF Education, a lot of good teams. Way behind where we're at. Trek, 3.25 hours down. Jumbo Visma, 3.5 hours behind. I mean, that's a good GC team. They had some withdrawals though, didn't they? Alright, well. That was nice. Let's finish La Vuelta. I'm going to jump straight to the final kilometers in Madrid. Nothing doing much other than pulling in what it does to the final standings. Final 25 kilometers rolling through the streets of Madrid. There's a little bit of undulation here, but it's really not anything that's going to have an impact. So we have 5 riders in the break. They only have a 40-second lead, and the pace is crazy hot because it's, a big final stage. Taylor Phinney goes down right next to our riders, luckily, not bringing any of them down with him. Though he did bring some riders behind down with him. 1 rider left off the back. It's going to be difficult for them to catch here in these final 9 kilometers. And we're going to have to step up the pace here. Just go 99 because they're gonna race hard here. And where is our man Evenepoel? There he is. Keep an eye on him. Make sure he's safe. 6K to go. Let's go with use your gels. And Evenepoel 4K away. Coming up. I have no chance in the sprint, so we don't bother. But we will go like this. And then we will go like this. And it looks like we might have ourselves a top 10, possibly. Christoph takes the stage over Nisolo. Viviani Sagan, Lopez, Ewan, Groenewegen, only 7th for him. Yates, Garrison does get 9th. Quintana 10th. Mater 11th. Felchi 12th. Venapool 16th. No time losses for him. And we bring it home. 7th place at La Vuelta. Pretty dang good considering he is not yet an elite GC guy against World Tour riders, especially on a Grand Tour. But we brought a team that, albeit weak compared to other teams around us, for us was built to handle climbs a little bit. And they worked together. They worked hard. And they put together a decent finish. And by decent, I mean by our standards, pretty frickin' good to get 7th place. To beat Quintana and Yates and Uran. We shouldn't be beating any of those guys. Woutpool's okay, yeah, I could see that. And he gained 10 minutes. He was over half hour behind on that last stage. Moss, right? He shouldn't be this far down. And he is team leader. Nibali, right? Multiple Giro wins. And I think he's won La Vuelta before. He's over 20 minutes behind. So the fact that we get 7th and 15th, hello, we're back up a spot. Time gaps. Poles 60-second on back. Lost 50 seconds. Okay, well, thank you for giving me back a little bit of that. Zakar and Sivakov both dropped it back down. These guys were all in that break where they gained 10 minutes. Pretty much the whole rest of the top 20, all breakaway guys. Good climbers breakaway that a few times gained back a bunch of time and then others lost a bunch of time. So 7th and 15th. It's still worth a couple points for McNulty. Points classification of Evenepoel was 12th. Moulin won it. Bowman won the KOM by 16 points clear of Carapaz. Those next two being GC contenders. Bernal, of course, took the young rider classification, but Evenepoel a solid 2nd place. McNulty a solid 4th place in that classification. And even Mater good in 7th. Surprising that Pogacar was so far behind in this race. And we finished 5th as a team, nearly an hour ahead of 6th place, and just 5 minutes behind Bahrain Merida, and really only 20 minutes behind Movistar, so not that far behind them. Great result, really great result. I'm happy. I'm very happy with how we did. Also, Tour of Britain, Philipsen again wins stage 8 and claims the overall victory there as well. So that's worth a pretty good amount of points. And between those two races, this is how we look now. Well, for one, the index, we bumped ahead of EF Education First yesterday. I think that was Stan Godry's leveling up that did that. Philipsen up to 11th in World Tour rankings. Venepul 38th. Philipsen 400 points ahead. Venepul still third there. No continental points for that race. Super Prestige, Philipsen up to second ahead of Dumoulin after winning his race, the Tour of Britain. Though Dumoulin won this race, but he moved up 6 spots, so he was a bit further down. It's Froome who drops from second to fourth. Not participate. Oh no, he was he there? No. Yes, Froome was there, but he was very much a support rider in that race. Evenepoel jumps 4 spots to 19th in the Super Prestige. Philipsen up to 27 victories now, just crushing it there. And as a team, 15th in the World Tour. First in Continental. And we jump 5 spots in the Super Prestige with the Philipsen victory and the Evenepoel 7th place. The points for those tallies coming in, and that's a good 500 points that we just added. Now over 6,000, so 6,166. And it very much appears that we are now headed for the World Tour for next season. Team getting just that little bit better, a little bit stronger. A couple strong riders coming in. I am excited for next season, because if we can claim 7th place with Evenepoel, what can we do with the team that's coming, which I actually need a refresher myself. Let's go ahead and see. It's Dylan Van Baarle coming in as an absolute leader, just to 77, but we're also adding Mads Pedersen and Gottwald to the team, replacing our one outgoing, and that is where did it go? Narvaez, right? Yeah, we lost Narvaez. But profile, it's cobble rating. It's Mads Pedersen that's really pushing us over the top. It's not Dylan Van Baarle. It's Mads Pedersen. Oh no, they're both classics guys. My bad. They are the ones that are pushing us up in the World Tour status because we are pretty balanced. We're not totally dominant in any area, but adding that cobble rating, that big boost. We're only adding 1 rider overall. Narvaez the only departure, but 3 additions, and they're all better. Narvaez is just a 72. I would like to keep him. He's heading to Burgos, but we bring in young rider, Gottwald, no team, but just 21 years old, puncher, really good for 74, and will definitely outdo what Narvaez did. Narvaez has a 76 for hills, but Gottwald better resistance and a better just pure climber and time trialist, so he brings a lot more to the plate. But then Mads Pedersen, 77 cobble rating, and capable of other things, very much capable of other things. And Dylan Van Baarle, likewise, a 78 cobble rating, high stamina, does a lot. Both of these guys do a lot, so they will be very welcome additions, and it brings us another area. And as we move to World Tour, as it appears, we're going to need those classics riders, because there is definitely a classic season that will now be a part of on a regular basis, and we're going to need those few guys that can handle those races. And Ooms was definitely not enough by himself, but you put those 3 guys together in all those World Tour races, and now we're going, okay, yeah, we can compete a bit. We can get some results. We can certainly keep our position in the World Tour. hopefully the sponsor doesn't go crazy. Like, oh, you're in the World Tour. Go win the Tour de France. Hopefully they don't do that to us year one. Otherwise we'll have a problem. But otherwise we should be improving sponsor confidence. We should be able to get quite a few results next year. And our balance is pretty healthy right now, 730,000. It's going to drop next season, though. It will drop because we are way over budget. But we can get a little closer that next year, and we have so many young riders, outside of Barl, that are going to improve and improve and improve. And if Evenepoel grows and, his GC status goes up, and Phillipsen, these guys are so young and talented and tons of potential. So things are looking good. I'm really happy with where we've ended up. Now, still just a little bit of time left on this season. Just a little bit of time. Primus, icebergs, we get just little stuff. Vendie's a fun one. Il Lombardia, of course. Guangxi. And the Chronogis Nations. So, nothing major left on the calendar, but still a few races that are worth going through. So probably one episode to get through all of that stuff. World Championships still coming. Chance it'll blend into a second episode, and that second episode will then carry over into the new season. But we're definitely getting close to that point now. Wow. Miguel Bryan, 99 days of racing for the year. 97 for McNulty. Felchi, 85. Phillipsen, 83. We managed it pretty well. Dionigi, Cassart, really the only ones that didn't get too many days. Garfield. So just a few riders that didn't get too many, and most of that was injury related. I'm Decathlon Gamer. Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to hit that like button on a tour well done. I'll see you next time. Bye for now.